we're going to move right on to the part where the sponsor of Campaign for Liberty put together some questions here that we thought were primarily of concern to us, and we think may, from time to time, may get overlooked. And let me just alert the crowd that this is not going to be, are you for cutting taxes type questions. So these guys are going to have to think on this one a little bit. Okay, the first question deals with monetary policy or economic policy. And what we'll do is I'll ask a question, and then the candidates, again, will get a minute and a half to respond, or a minute, I'm sorry, is that what we agreed to? Can you guys do it in a minute? Minute and a half, 2 minutes, fine? Sure. We'll just go down the line. We'll start with Paul Sorum, and I'll go to Jack. And then the second question, we'll start with Jack and go to Rick Bird and that type of thing. I should be calling him Lieutenant Governor. Sorry. It's okay. Jack's good. Like I said, I'm the backup horse. Okay, so we'll start again. Question number one is based on monetary policy. If I need to repeat it, that's fine. You can simply ask me to do it. Since its creation in 1913, the Federal Reserve has never been audited. The Federal Reserve is not a government agency. It's no more federal than Federal Express. Yet it monopolizes our nation's monetary policy. In the most recent Rasmussen poll conducted in December of 2009, 80% of the public supported an audit of the Federal Reserve to bring transparency to the American public. In both the House and Senate, there are currently audit the Fed bills that would, for the first time in history, provide a complete and complete and thorough transparency for all the Fed. I wrote this question. In the House, H.R. 1207 currently has 317 co-sponsors and is part of a financial regulatory reform bill. It was added as an amendment. In the Senate, currently right now, S604 has 32 co-sponsors, which is a third, and obviously 2/3 of the House are in favor of this bill. So my question to the candidates is, do you support a full and complete audit of the Federal Reserve? And if so, would you support it as a standalone measure?
Well, whether or not it's a standalone measure, there should be an audit of the Federal Reserve. I think one thing that people don't understand about the Federal Reserve, it has 5 or 6 major functions. And what you cannot do is be completely transparent, because if you have a full audit of the Federal Reserve, you have to realize they're providing services for depository institutions, and therefore whatever banks may be on the verge of having too many delinquent loans, let's say criticized loans, and they're heavily weighted over towards the loss end, you wouldn't want information on that bank as to how much money is being pushed over into reserves from the Feds, because you could have a run on that bank, which would be bad for everybody. So yes, we should have an audit, and it should be ongoing, and there should be more oversight by politicians in Washington over this is, the Federal Reserve and its functions. But a complete transparency, well, it could be pretty complete, but again, if you go to a bank and they give you a loan proposal with very high rates, it's because in that particular category of loan, they don't want to give any more loans. Their balance between assets and liabilities is too close. So all they do is give you a really high rate, and you say that's ridiculous, and go somewhere else. Because if they came out and said, look, we can't give you more money out for this, it would really be a shot at the stability of their bank and the liability and the integrity of their system. So you want to maintain the integrity of our overall banking institutions, or I should say you want to maintain the overall integrity of the whole system. And therefore, yes, we should audit it. We should be audited every year. And in some cases, the Treasury and the Federal Reserve under the Obama administration has gone way past their constitutional authorities.
Same question, Jack, or did you need to repeat it?
No. Federal Reserve, I don't think there's any question that over the years we have all felt that we need more transparency in the Federal Reserve. It is a mystery to most people what is even being done there. We all remember the years when Carter ended his tenure and Reagan came in and we had 20% interest rates, and people said, you know, what kind of a policy is that? Today, we've gone to the opposite end of the spectrum, and we realize even deeper than the Federal Reserve itself is a failed policy of trying to run our entire economic policy in the United States based on interest rate controls. Now we're at 0% interest for all practical purposes, and the government is saying this is how we are going to stimulate our economy, this is how we're going to come out of a recession. We are going to put money out there for anybody to pick up. That's not economic policy, and behind that is the real flaw. Look at what's happening now in Washington is really downright frightening. When we see the huge bank bailouts, you talk about a lack of transparency. What was going on there? What's going on there now? Do people even know? All we know is the taxpayers are having to put up a tremendous amount of money to save like giant corporations. What about takeovers of some of the largest companies in the United States, like General Motors? What kind of an economic policy is that we as a nation are carrying forward? So underneath the Federal Reserve, I hate to say it, is some problems that run far deeper.
So you would be in favor of that? No.
Transparency for the Federal Reserve, absolutely.
You want to restate the question?
Really? Okay. Since 1913,
Oh, just the bottom line question.
It was just a long question. Hey, I don't know, maybe you forgot. Do you support a full and complete audit of the Federal Reserve? If so, would you support it with 10 members?
Yes, yes. I think one of the challenges that we had with really the stock market crash of 2008 was the Fed's lack of a coherent policy. They went and nationalized some businesses, and others they let fail, and they brought the TARP in. And again, I think what the end result were billions of dollars of savings that evaporated because of a policy that wasn't consistent. So again, I feel that they should be audited, and I believe in more standalone bills. In North Dakota, we tend to try and have each bill on one subject. And I think that's what Washington should be, so the public can understand what you're voting on. And again, it's a straight up vote, rather than these Christmas tree bills that have 6,000 earmarks so no one can vote against it without affecting something of importance to their people.